Hello everyone, hope you are doing great. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use JavaScript functions. Alright, so what's a function? So a function is a block of code designed to perform a particular task and it is executed when it's called. Alright, so first let's define a function. Let's call it greet. Alright, this function, it console logs hello. That's it. Alright, so if I save the file, nothing happens, right? Because we only defined the function, we haven't called it yet. So if I called it here, save the file, as you can see, hello was logged to the console. Alright, so every time I call the function, it executes everything inside this block. Alright, this curly braces. So I could call it as many times as I want. So if I save the file, hello was logged 4 times to console. Alright, so also we could pass arguments to this function. Alright, so let's say I want to greet Akrel and David and John. Alright, so in here, if I save the file, nothing happens because we haven't used this string yet, alright, of this value that was passed to the greet function, alright. So in here I could declare, let's call it name, alright, and in here I could just come and just add plus name. Alright, if I save the file, as you can see, the name was set to this value that was passed to the function. Alright, and we managed to console log hello plus the name, which is the value that was passed to the function. Alright, so with function you could also pass values to it, alright, or variables. So what happens if I don't pass anything? Alright, if I save the file, undefined was logged. Alright, so what ends up happening is when I don't pass anything to the function, right? So the parameter will have a value of undefined. Alright, that's what happens. So to avoid that issue, we could give it an initial value. So let's say I could give it a value of say word. Alright, save the file. As you can see, if no value was passed, the name would have a value of word, alright, and it would be used in here. Alright, so this is it for functions, and as you can see, we are not returning anything. Alright, so let's make another example. Let's say I wanted to create a function that calculates the sum of two variables. Alright, so function sum. Alright, and this function takes two parameters. Alright, let's call them a and b. You could call them whatever you want, right? I'm just going to call them a and b, and we are going to return a plus b instead of logging it to the console, right? So let's call sum with these two values. Alright, if I save the file, nothing happens because the function returned the sum of these two values, but we didn't console log it. Alright, so I could just come here and just console log. Alright, if I save this, as you can see, 15 was logged to the console because the return of this function is the sum of these two. So 5 plus 10, which is 15, and it would be logged to the console. You could store it to a variable, call it a result, right? And after that, I could just log the result, alright, which is 15. So what happens if, let's say, I didn't pass this value, alright? If I save the file, not a number was logged to the console. Why? Because as I said, A would take the value of 5, but B, because we didn't pass any value, B would take a value of undefined. Alright, so 5, a number plus undefined, is not a number. This is why we got not a number logged into the console. To solve this issue, we could actually give two of them an initial value of 0. So if we ended up not passing any value to these two, if we ended up not passing any parameters, alright, 0 would be 0. A would take 0 as a value, and same with B. So if we didn't pass any values, the return would be the sum of these two, which is 0 plus 0, which is 0. So anytime I don't pass any value, right, the return would be 0. If I only pass the first value, all right, and then save it, it would be 5 because A took the value of 5, but B, because it wasn't passed, it took 0 as a value, all right? So that's it pretty much with functions. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you on the next one.